All right, welcome back to Johnny's Garage. It's your two favorite Wonder Twins here. Got Death Row on the side of me over there.
Yeah. Well, we got the infamous El Satanico. Hashtag John Bogey. Yeah. Yeah. And
Well, everybody always wonders. I got an email that I use for business and stuff like that, or different things on the internet that I always want to keep separate, and it's LSAT for life. Everybody always goes, "Oh, Elsa, yeah, you're a." No, it's LSAT, which stands for El Satanico.
yeah.
And when I try to tell people that, they go, "Yeah, well, I thought it was Elsa." No, no Elsa. I am not dreaming about ice.
You just reminded me of something that real quick. I gotta say it. You know Dirty Dog, right?
Yes.
He's still currently wrestling. He's a good talent. So Dirty Dog went and bought a mask gimmick, and he comes to me and says, "I got this mask." He pulls it out. There's a blue mask with a singlet. And he said, "But I don't know what I'm gonna call myself." And I said, "Call yourself Yusa." He goes, "Yusa?" I said, "Yeah, Yusa." I said, "But you got to be a heel." And he goes, "Why?" I said, "I want you to go out there and just do the dirtiest thing you can do. And when the crowd starts chanting, 'You suck,' I want you to stop right in the middle of the match, take a bow, and start chanting, 'You suck, you suck, you suck.'" And it sold. He did it, and it went over like $1 million.
Dang.
You suck. Anyway, go ahead, man. I'm sorry. That just.
Oh no, that's funny. I never heard that story. Me and you, we got a chance to. Well, first off, in my wrestling career, I've only flown to one show, and that was our first Iowa trip. That we got flown up there. Everything else was driving.
No, you're wrong. We flew more than once.
Where was it to?
No, it was Iowa. We flew one time with
Rick.
We flew one time with Rick, and we flew one time with Todd Morton.
I thought that's the same trip because Todd never showed up at any of the other ones.
No, we flew twice. We flew first time. First time we went up. Well, no, first time we went up was with Todd Morton. Second time we flew up, we ended up in the very back of an airplane in a little, what I call a micro machine, and had that joker that stunk so bad sitting next to us that kept, and y'all were begging me to knock him out because I ended up sitting next to that stinking joker. But me and you together flew twice. I know.
And it was twice. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we
flew out of Atlanta one time. We flew out of Birmingham another time.
Birmingham was the first trip because Rick set up these tickets. Now, if you don't know Rick, he wrestled under a character called Raven because he couldn't come up with one of his own, so he had to steal somebody else's.
That's a fact.
Short, 5'10", maybe. Rick, if you ever come across this, is what it is.
I mean, hey, I want him to dispute it. You know,
he got to be a big name in the business because he dated Sensational Sherry. You know, and nobody still knows who he is. So,
did he really date Sherry?
I think he tried to date her, wanted to.
I don't think Sherry dated him.
I think he called it dating more than anything because he hung around her. He was all up her butt.
Yeah, because the whole time me and you have known Sherry, she was married to the same guy.
Right.
And yeah, and I really
I think
liked it.
this was during her divorce time though, because they went and
Could be.
did dress up pictures. I seen them in suit and stuff done up.
Yeah.
But
Well,
either way with it, I don't think Sherry was that dumb.
yeah, me either.
So we're on our way to Birmingham, and this man carries a bag. He carries handcuffs, chains, everything, and he's got the death row gimmick. I'm carrying my mask, hoods, and all this kind of stuff in mine. I checked my bag, and because I had gimmicks in it, I was going to sell and everything. So his was just a small little rolling or duffel bag, something like that. And I had the big one because I had all the mask gimmicks I sold and things like that. We get to the Birmingham airport and my bag's in, we're getting on the plane. He sends his bags through the little scanner. Oh my God, alarms going everywhere. They stop it and pull him aside, says, "Sir, you can't have these." Start pulling out handcuffs. And he's like, "They're fake, we can't have them." So it was a big thing. He tried to talk him into letting them go. So eventually they took him. Now, this is where I say this whole story we're going to talk about, I think is his fault. And I mean death row, because at that point, bad vibes got put in the air when he looked at all the TSA agents and said, "Oh, you just want to use them on your husbands and wives."
Yeah. Once you take them home, use them on your husband. That's what you want to do anyway. Yeah. Yeah, I'm guilty of that.
So now you know where the bad vibes started. I'm going to stick to that one.
Stick to it, man.
So
But I'm not the blundering idiot of this story.
Oh no, the blundering idiot. We're going back to Rick Raven. So we get on the plane and I'm sitting by the window. Death row sitting in the middle, which is kind of retarded in itself when you got two big guys and then you got Rick who's 5'0", should have been in the middle. But Rick used the excuse he had to go to the bathroom a lot because he was taking medicine for a neck surgery he just had. So, and at the time I was married, so I had a little bag. It was essentially bought to carry some like underwear or something as a gift. And I had books in it.
It was a Bacardi bag.
Or a Bacardi bag, but that's essentially what it was, though, because
that's exactly what it was. It was a Bacardi bag. Yeah.
But I had books in it, and it was just a little thing. And I was pulling books out because I'm sitting in there. We got sent up to, where was it? We got sent to 2 airports, had layovers.
We went to St. Louis. We went to St. Louis first.
Right, and then into Kansas City.
Yeah, and then into Kansas. Yeah, then into Kansas City.
And
then we went to Omaha. We made our final stop in Omaha.
Right. Yeah. Anything Rick did, it took days and hours to do 5 minutes. So I'm on the plane, I'm reading and everything, and we're finally making our last stop. We had just gotten to the place, the final destination. And we're getting off the plane. Everything's fine. But now let me go back to the beginning of the whole plane ride. Rick starts flirting with the stewardess. They're talking about this and this and this, and he's pulling out his medicine bottles, and here's probably where it went upside down. She stops and goes, "Oh, you're on medicine. What's the matter?" And he starts talking about his neck. And she goes, "Oh, what kind of pain pills are you on?"
Yep.
Rick starts telling her he's on all these high this and that. So they start talking about medicines and things like this, what she takes, what she does. And I'm not going to say anything that she did, but the conversations were there.
Yeah.
So halfway through the plane, they start talking about the movie Snakes on a Plane. This is how long ago this was. And Rick
I think this was before Snakes on a Plane.
Was it before?
Yeah, she was telling him about what other people had done
what
on
other
there.
people had brought. That's right.
Yeah.
And he goes, well, what's been on here? And she said this and this and this. You know, it's just little stuff like somebody brought a mouse, you know, traveling with them, you know, something, nothing major. So Rick tells her, he goes, well, you see that little bag he's got over there? We didn't want to say nothing.
Hold on. Before you go there, the biggest thing about this, she was talking about maybe a week before that, somebody had brought a snake in on a carry-on bag, and it was like this 6-foot long boa constrictor.
Right. I forgot
And
about
it
that.
had went down the luggage rack and dropped down in the laps of the people in the front seats and come out of luggage rack in their lap. And that's when Rick went on his little fairy tale. So go ahead.
Rick says we didn't want to say nothing, and it wasn't we, it was Rick. You know, he automatically throws us into this. He said that little bag, he had a little tiny baby snake that, you know, we were taking with us, and it got loose. We don't know where it is. And she starts laughing and, you know, things like this. So we're just laughing, having a good old time. We get off the plane. Now we're in the airport. We're supposed to be meeting Todd Morton there. Now, if y'all don't know who Todd Morton is, go look him up, because that's a story in itself.
Oh yeah.
So we're in there and we're getting something to eat and drink, you know, waiting because we got an hour before Todd's plane comes in. Todd gets there and we all go down to luggage. We're down in the luggage, walking to try to get our bags. Just got our bags and we're starting to go out. All of a sudden, all I see is Rick spun around, and it was like a quick, violent spin around. Somebody snatched him. So me, Death Row, Todd, we all turn around. We're ready to fight. You know, who the hell's grabbing us like that? And I'm just going to use my cell phone. Guy right in Rick's face shows his badge, says FAA. Y'all are going to have to come with me. And we're like, oh shit, what the hell did we do? You know,
I'm gonna interject though right here, just to say that for all you people out there that have seen the movies where they have the little block room with the one-way mirror under the airport, those are real. Okay. I'm just interjecting that. All right.
So now we're sitting here, we're face to face. I'm on the left-hand side of the pilot. Death Row's on the right-hand side. Todd's over there on the right-hand side, and Rick is next to me in between Death Row and facing him. You have the pilot of the plane, which is a female, and behind the FAA guy, and you have the stewardess who's standing on the other side of the pilot behind the pilot. So none of them are really in sight. And he says, you guys are in real big trouble. Yeah. For 45 minutes, we have not been able to take off because we were told you had an animal on the plane that got let loose. Yes. So we're like, holy shit, we're in trouble. You seen blood draining.
Their words were 15 to 25 years. Yes. They kept telling us that we were in for 15 to 25 years for bringing whatever animal on the plane. You missed where they literally took us downstairs.
Yes.
Yeah, they literally took us downstairs to the little block room.
Well, after you said that, it really didn't have to.
and so as we're down there, the FAA is chewing us up, threatening us with 15 to 25 years in prison. We're trying to tell them it was all a joke. They're not listening. And then the pilot and the stewardess walks in. And that was when Rick, who I don't have a lot for really, but Rick did his magic at that point.
All I can say is he proved why he runs batteries dead on a microphone.
He damn sure did
that. They're talking about prison. We're going to jail. We ain't getting out. You know, kiss our families goodbye. Rick.
they got Todd, and Todd wasn't even on the plane with us.
Yeah, Todd was
And they
just
had
with
him
us.
down there. He's just innocent. He was the innocent bystander. You know?
If I'm not mistaken, didn't Todd say I didn't even fly with them?
Yeah, and they wasn't hearing it. They wasn't listening to nothing, man.
So when the pilot and stewardess come in, we had all seen them, but they're standing behind them, and all of a sudden, I do not know. They always say wrestlers are used car salesmen. And this was one of the first instances. You know, I've watched the Dusty Rhodes and I've watched all the good promos from them, but I have never been part of a promo that could have sold tickets. And this is the one that would have sold every ticket. I would have went to see the ending of the show because Rick started going, well, hold on here. What you have here is I don't know what she was doing. I don't know what she's on, but the story she's telling, we were just talking about things. We were talking about if anything had ever gotten on a plane as she started telling us. But let me tell you, when I was pulling my medication out, she wanted to switch me drugs. She wanted my painkillers that I legit, he showed him where he just had the surgery. And he started going into this detail thing of what she wanted, what she said she was on, what she said she had. And we're here, they're in front of us, and you could see the stewardess backing up.
She backed out of the room. Yeah.
The pilot snatched her, says, hold on right there. And the guy in the FAA says, thank you. You guys have a good day.
Yep, free to go.
And
we wasted no time getting the hell out of that airport.
Our ride, which was a guy named Fast Eddie or Chad, he's on the page. He don't post too much, but he looks at things. Soon as we got in Chad's van, we're like, Chad, go.
Get the hell out of here.
Even.
Hey, that reminds me. One night we need to tell the story about what happened to Fast Eddie's van.
Well, let's go on with it because that was the same trip.
No, it wasn't.
Was it that one or the next one? No, it was because that was the reason we had to use Eddie's van because we flew in.
Yeah, but that was not the same trip. So the trip that I'm talking about was when we went to do we were already,
program.
Yeah, we were already on top at that point. Me and you we were hot, right? So we had been up there quite a few times at this point. And if you remember correctly, we were doing things like personal appearances at bars and stuff like that. Right. And so they wanted us to go to the mall to do an autograph sign. And it's literally, we're going up there with 2 folding chairs and a card table to do this autograph signing. And when we pull up outside the building, there's a big sign on the side of the building, huge sign, said Public Safety Awareness Week. And it had the Dare, and it had Freddie the Fire Truck, Smokey the Bear. It had all this stuff to attract the children and everything.
Well, hold on. Let me stop you on this one. Because their program, you have the 2 biggest heels in wrestling. One of them has Hell Cell shaved in his head.
Yeah.
There's a mask with chains and handcuffs. Yeah. I got a cape that says "Welcome to Hell." They're wanting us to walk into the middle of this.
Yeah, and so we're not dummies. At this point, we've been in enough production that we know what sells, and we know how to market fairly well, market ourselves. So I actually send the runner into the building to see if we could get one of the police to escort us in with me and my shackles and my executioner's hood on and just walk us in to where we're going to be doing the autograph sign. And this police comes out and he comes straight to me, puts a finger in my chest, and he's telling me, we ain't doing this bullshit. You coming up here, this is serious with the Public Safety Awareness Week, and we aren't about this fake bullshit wrestling that you're bringing up here. And he keeps poking me in the chest. And finally, I just looked at him and said, "Hey, man, hey, it's fine. You don't have to take me in. I've got somebody that can take me in." I said, "I just thought you might want to be a part of this." And he's like, "I don't want to be a part of any of this bullshit." And he just keeps on dragging us. So he walks off. So we get the runner that I'm ashamed to say I don't remember who it was.
I
But
think it was Chad's brother.
it might have been Chad's brother. But again, I'm ashamed to say I don't remember. But so I get my shackles on, I've got my executioner's hood on, and I've got, my hands are cuffed to my side, and he walks us in. And as we walk in, there's probably, I'd say, at least 1,500 people in the public safety awareness. I mean, this thing's full of people, right?
It's in the middle of the town mall.
Yeah. And they walk us right through the middle of this thing. And it was me and Bogey. And they walk us to this little card table and we sit down. But when we walked through, the whole crowd that was in the public safety awareness followed us to our table. They left. There wasn't nobody left over there. And so we sit down, and that was when I learned I should have brought some gimmicks, right? Because we sold out of pictures like in 15 minutes. It was just unbelievable how fast all that stuff went. And we've got this huge line of people, and we're signing autographs like crazy. And then, so we've been there for, I guess, about 45 minutes at this point. The crowd's done dwindled off. We still got a few stragglers, but I got these two kids sitting there talking to me. Now, for all the people out there that know, I was the bad guy through and through. I was always the heel, but I never mistreated any kids. If a kid wanted an autograph, they got it. If a kid wanted to talk to me, I talked to them. I never, ever mistreated a kid. I would mistreat the adults for wanting something to do with me, but I'd never mess with a kid. So we're sitting there having this great conversation with these two kids. And about that time, I hear somebody scream their name. I look over, and it was that cop that come out to tell me about myself. It was his children.
Well, tell them who that cop was.
He was the police chief. So the police chief is mad as all get out, but I've had enough of him at this point. I've absolutely had enough of the way he was acting towards me. And he comes over, gets on to his children, turns around and gets on to me. Gets on to me and Bogey both, actually, screaming at both of us, telling us how sorry we were and how big a piece of shit we were because we interrupted something as important as Public Safety Awareness Week. And he keeps on screaming. Finally, I stood up out of my chair and I towered over that son of a bitch, full death row. And I said, "Look, asshole, I give you a chance to be a part of this. Now leave me the hell alone." And he turned around and walked off, and we made our exit. And I think we didn't even get out of the parking lot before we got our first ticket.
The thing is he pulled his kids away, and his kids are holding our pictures.
Yeah.
He had to go home looking at us.
And so we were on the outer loop of the mall or something and did like 2 miles over the speed limit and got a ticket. So we get back, we go to the show that night. I think every wrestler parked in the parking lot in the back got a ticket that night.
We were at the school. We were at a school. Yeah, and the van was parked in a handicap. We rented the school. We had everything, and we were behind. There wasn't anybody. We're all wrestlers.
We had private parking back there. It was cordoned off. And so when we get in there, there's police presence from one end of that building to the other. They had the inside of the building surrounded with police. And so was it me or was it Rick? I don't want to take credit for something I didn't do.
What about the enema?
Yeah.
Rick was on the mic, and he started talking about how bad this place was and all the people in the town, and everybody was so sorry that if he was going to give the world an enema, he was going to stick it right here.
Yeah, but he didn't actually say it like that. He talked about the police.
The police.
And he was talking about all the police that were in the building and all that. And he was talking about the police chief standing right there. And then he went in to tell them where to stick their enema. And so I think we got another ticket on the way back to the hotel.
No, we
Right.
got a ticket sitting in the parking lot,
In the parking lot for parking
and then
in
another
handicap
ticket
spot.
back to the hotel.
Another ticket back to the hotel. And then what was like 2 weeks later, Eddie calls us and he says, I had to sell my van. I'm like, man, why? What happened? He goes, man, every time I backed out of my driveway, I got a ticket. He said, I couldn't leave my yard. So we got some real heat up there in Newton, Iowa for that one, man.
But the thing is we didn't even tell the whole good part. The two heels went over and put a bunch of money in the DARE program thing from the pictures we sold.
Yes, we did. We actually made a donation to it. That was before the police chief got me riled up on him. And so, yeah, it's just daggone ridiculous, man, the way that guy acted. And so just being true to who I am, I never let anybody bully me. I didn't care who they were. I wouldn't give a shit if I was president of the United States. You're not going to talk to me like that. And so when I come up out of that chair, I scared the hell out of him. I made him second guess what he was doing because big man could move a lot faster than he thought I could.
But you know, after that show, we never had another problem with the police in that town.
We didn't, but we only did a couple more shows in that town. Well, we used to do the lap over there where we'd go down through southern Iowa and everything. Yeah, I remember that one horse arena we used to wrestle in there a lot. We brought T-Bone over, and his debut was in that
Right.
horse arena.
It was T-Bone, JT, me and you, and Rick.
Yeah, and I wrestled T-Bone that night. And I don't know how I always ended up wrestling T-Bone, but I always did for some reason.
Well, since we're on the Iowa edition, after the match at the horse arena that we're talking about, the next morning we're on our way home. It's kind of raining and, you know, bad weather, you know, nothing bad. We're driving down the road, and next thing you know, it just gets horrible weather.
I was driving.
He's driving, and we're all kind of halfway, you know, conked out because we're leaving at like 6:37 in the morning to get home because it's a 12-hour drive. Unless you're riding with Rick, then it's 18
or 19 hours. Yeah.
So I'm in the back and I'm laid out, and I look up and I see now. Those of y'all that don't know, but those of y'all who know how strong this man is, I look up at him. He's got this look on his face. You can see it through the rearview mirror, and he's holding the van steering wheel. He's shaking, and a couple seconds later, you know, we're through this stuff, and we get a phone call. Rick gets a phone call from Eddie, and he goes, "Man, y'all be careful. There's been tornadoes in the area," and he screams out, "We just drove through the damn thing."
Hey, hold on. You got to tell the truth, man. So I'm driving and I see a transfer truck lay down. We were real close to Peoria, Illinois at this point. And this transfer truck lays down, slides across the road, and I realize that there's a tornado inbound. And I look, and there is not a ditch, not an overpass. There's not nothing. We're on absolutely flat ground. And I know that there's no way I can stop because I can see which way the tornado's coming. So I just floor it. And I am running wide ass over. But you, T-Bone, the rest of you back there, y'all were pretty much asleep when all this started going down. And so this van is shaking and bouncing.
I think that's what woke me up was the shaking because I'm
holding it on the road, but Rick was over there in the floorboard on the passenger side trying, screaming, telling me to stop. And I'm like, no way in hell I'm stopping, right? Because, I mean, look, if I stop, we're goners. And so really, just to sit there and watch him cry like a bitch just made my heart feel better. And
well, hold on now. If we're going to tell the whole real side of wrestling, I was scared to death, and I know T-Bone in the back, JT, we're all just putting our heads down and praying because we know who's driving. But if we're going to keep it real, after we got through it, I do remember the van stopping.
Yeah.
And somebody getting out going, give me 5 minutes.
Hell yeah, man. Dude, that was scary. That was god awful scary. I will promise you that I don't ever want to do that again. Let's say that.
No. We let me tell you, I don't care whether you believe in God, you don't believe in God. Somebody watched over us on a lot of these road trips, and that was one that they were keeping a really good eye on us.
I can remember one in particular that you and I took when we were following the damn snow plows through Illinois because the snow was stacked up so high. And you're right, somebody was keeping up with us.
I had
taking care of us.
It was a Chevy Sonoma, or a GMC Sonoma, which is like the Chevy S10, the old small trucks. I had switched over somewhere right about the time we got into Illinois, down around Kentucky. I had switched over, and I crashed out on the passenger side. He took over driving, and at one point, all I hear is, it was either oh shit or fuck, something like that.
Yeah,
and I jump up and I'm bracing. I'm trying to hold on because you don't just scream that when nothing's going wrong. And I look out and all I see a foot and a half, 2 feet over the top of the truck, and it's one lane in the middle of it is snow. It was literally 7 to 8 foot high walls of snow. And I look over, he's got the truck maxed out right before it shuts off at almost 90 miles an hour.
Yeah, I did do that. It was, I had realized how fast I was going. That's why I screamed. I didn't scream, just yelled. I said, holy cow, man. Yeah, so I realized how fast I'm going. But if I remember correctly, when you woke up, you actually cracked your windshield with your head. You come up so fast and so hard that you popped the windshield and put a crack in it. And I'm like, oh my God. And you're looking at me going, what we hit? And I'm going, we didn't hit nothing.
Are you sure it wasn't the Phoenix City Smotherer riding in between us?
No, that was a nightmare trip that I never want to do again. And
we're not going to say who that is. That's a personal joke.
Yeah, but no, that was definitely that trip was horrible because I had tore a muscle in my back, and I had her sitting in the middle, and my daggone back muscles are just killing me. And the first bridge we hit going into Birmingham, the damn seat broke right in the middle where she was sitting, and leaned my hips to one side and put my back out of balance. And that shit hurt so bad, I didn't know how to act, man.
Well, that was also the same trip, because when I did that trip, gas was cheaper down here because you were looking at $4 a gallon most of the way up there. I had two 5-gallon cans in the back of the truck. And I do remember you. I went, ran the truck, filled it up with the 10 gallons of gas, kept going. You finally looked over at me and said, if you don't stop this truck, I'm going to stop this truck because I got to take a piss.
Yeah, we got it. Yeah, well, when we were on the road together, we definitely learned how to cut minutes off of the trip. We would run cross country.
We turned that 18-hour trip originally into, we got it down to about 10 and a half to 12 hours, depending on the weather.
Depending on whether we found somewhere to stop, because you and I both, love flea markets, and we found a few flea markets along the way, and we would go check those out, and so it was but it was good because we would drive all the way through the night, and then we would stop, meet breakfast in Peoria, and then end up going to see something. Remember that trip to Spencer's in the mall over there? One morning we show up real early and we stopped at the mall,
No,
And we're in,
that wasn't even a Spencer's in the mall. That was in the big truck stop. That was in the big truck stop on 80 that they had all the wrestling masks and everything. It's
yeah, so
it's one of the biggest truck stops on 80 going out there. It's in Iowa.
yeah, so we're in there, and this girl's in there looking for a toy. And and she keeps looking at this toy, and I'm standing there, and then she realizes I'm standing there, and she's embarrassed as hell. And I had something smart ass to say to her about it, you know. She run out of there, and at first she tried to run out without paying, but then she caught her good sense and come back and paid for it. But but yeah.
Well, we're going to end this episode of Johnny's Garage right here. We got a whole lot more Iowa stories to tell.
Well, definitely at some point, I'm going to say this, look forward in the future, we will have one of our Iowa brothers on here, Harsh. And when we get to talking to Harsh and talking about what we did together up there, those are definitely some really good times that we had.
They will never be duplicated, no matter what.
No, they won't. There's no way to duplicate what we did. It was awesome. Yep. Well, man, go ahead and shut her down. And I'm about tired now. I've been up all day, but you can cut that part out.
Thank y'all for watching.
Yeah.